there's a lot of innovation coming from us as well. We've got some pretty cool new products on the horizon. So
welcome to the Ben Taylor podcast. This is the home of marine industry insights. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Ben Taylor podcast, the home of marine industry insights. Today we're at Sunseeker London Group. We're actually at the pool site, and we're going to hear a bit about ceramic coatings and some of the opportunities around those for brokers, for boat builders, and a couple of other different stakeholders in the industry. So welcome Matt, welcome Ryan. Let's start with a little introduction about yourself. So Ryan, what's your background? Where is this coming from?
Okay, yeah, so I work for Sunseeker London Group. I'm the Group Service Director. Been here sort of 24, 25 years.
Just getting into it.
Yeah, just getting into it. Yeah, just learning the trade. So my role within the business is to oversee all the service elements of the business. So that's all new build boats, all retrofits, all extras, things like that. Just general service, maintenance, and we see the boats through their warranty period for sort of 2 years. We have our facilities here in Poole, which is our main sort of service facilities, and then we also have other sort of territories around sort of all of Europe. So we are pretty much cover Europe on behalf of Sunseeker. We also sell sort of Axopars and Brabus. Again, we have various locations around Europe where we sell and service and look after all the upkeep. So yeah, so.
Okay, the perfect perspective to come from when we get into all the Gtechniq stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. Probably. Yeah.
I think we've got an ideal interviewee. And Matt, give us a bit of background on Gtechniq and how it's kind of positioned in the market and what actually is it?
Yeah, so Gtechniq is a brand that's 25 years old next year, and that's nearly as long as you've been for a party.
I think I can remember it at the time I started.
So as a business, really at the foundation of when ceramic coatings were being developed and formulated, that's given the company a lot of time to do a lot of learning and try out a lot of new things and become the market leader in various sectors, automotive, high specification motor cars. The business really leads and excels there. And a few years ago now, around about 3.5-4 years ago, the business launched a dedicated marine range, which has grown. And the company has a big site in the USA, a successful business over there, and also is now growing in lots of different sectors in the European area. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, and I actually went to their site in the UK and saw exactly what they were doing, and I didn't realize how big this is in automotive. And Gtechniq in the automotive world is very, very well recognized, very well established. And so it kind of makes sense. I mean, normally the marine industry is a little bit behind, but it kind of makes sense for their expansion and similar opportunity there.
Absolutely. The business deals with a lot of brands that I probably can't mention, and lots of different quite technical opportunities that are very sort of secretive around different sports and automotive. So it's very, very, very strong and well thought of brand. And Rob, the owner, is very passionate about the marine space and has brought a suite of products that are really tailored to marine. And the success of the business has been and this is going back to that automotive side, has been to engage with car dealers, if you like, main dealers, to offer coatings and various products at the point of purchase. So if you were buying a Porsche, for example, there's an opportunity to buy that and have it on. So the reason kind of we're here today and what we've started now with Ryan is taking that same model and applying it to marine.
Yeah, and I'm sure, Ryan, you've been approached by many ceramic coatings over the years.
Hundreds.
yeah, I'm sure.
It's funny enough, I was talking to Matt about it the other week. From ceramic coating has been around for many years, and I'm probably not wrong in saying I wasn't the biggest fan of it initially. I wasn't sure on whether it would work or not. There was we've tried lots of applications over the years because exterior paint or GRP protection is quite important for us, their clients, because you want the boats to look good, et cetera, et cetera. And we tried other products and it just hasn't worked, and so I was a bit put off by it, if I'm honest.
But why didn't it work? What was the big hurdle?
Well, I think it was, you pay a premium for something, or you pay a price for something, and the expectation level, certainly from my point of view, is that it should be an exceptional product that has longevity, and everything like that. And what we were finding was that it'll be applied, and then you just didn't get that longevity. There was no benefit over the standard, like electric polish, annually or whatever. But I think, and that's not necessarily down to, I think that probably technology's improved so much in the last sort of 10 years that, now we're seeing this product on our product, if you like, we can see it.
Yeah, so it's really come on so that people really can see the difference.
Yeah.
And so from a broker perspective and really delivering to the boat owner, it's enabled you to say, well, look, this is with, this without, this is without. Is that worth it for you? Does it suit your needs? And then it's become a bit more of an easier conversation.
Exactly. I think it's not so much what it looks. It's more like what it looks like in 6 months. This is what a boat looks like without the protection on its annual servicing work, and this is what it looks like with protection. I think that's the big difference, because all the boats will look good to start with.
Yeah.
But it's how they look a year down the line. That's where I think the ceramic coating has come on, and we've seen it. We've seen it on we did a trial on a Support 55 for Southampton Boat Show, and the boat looked, immense for the whole show. It did look good, and it's still looking good now. So we're talking 6 months down the line. We just done another event with the same boat, and it looks as good as it did the day it was applied.
And so how difficult is it to educate the boat buyer on this kind of thing? Do they tend to be fairly familiar with ceramic coatings already, and kind of just?
I think so. I think on our Actipar range, certainly, because a lot of clients, that range will have a top end car, and they're already using the product in their cars.
Yeah.
So actually, when you offer it to them, they've already seen a benefit from that element on the automotive side.
I think the brand, sorry to cut across, but I think the brand is good for that as well. I have a lot of conversations with people when you talk about, maybe we have an initial conversation about ceramic coatings, and I say Gtechniq. Of course, I know that because of my Jaguar, Range Rover, Porsche, Mercedes, whatever, I've got that coating. So as Ryan's saying, sorry to cut, but I think it's
agree. So from a brand power perspective, it's actually already recognised. So you don't actually start from ground zero. What on earth does this do? They actually already trust it already because of familiarity. And
so selling of it is not as difficult as it sounds, if you like. If they want, I think it's just the problem we have, if we're honest, is when you're dealing with the larger Sunseekers, is the owners as such have a sort of like disconnection, if you like, from that element of it, because they're looking at it as they have somebody normally looking after the boat for them.
Okay.
So they leave it to them. So you're sort of selling it really to sort of like the crew and the skippers, because they're the ones that are undertaking the maintenance.
Yeah.
I think we're finding that's what we're sort of seeing. The smaller boats, the Actipars, is because you're dealing with the owner, and the owner's obviously, he's much more engaged with the product on a day-to-day basis and the maintenance of it. So
yeah, and so can you give us a wider perspective on how the services and maintenances are generally sold, without being too specific about ceramic coatings, so that we can then understand how this can almost be an upsell to that and really just kind of add value and fit into that system.
Right, okay, yeah. So it's basically, when a boat's sold, any boat, whether it's new, second hand, brokerage even, the salesmen are engaged obviously with the purchaser, and they will have the sort of boat sort of specification, and then always, and in 99% of sales, obviously the client will come in and they want extras.
Yeah, how do I look after it? Where do I put it?
Exactly. And they will ask for various things, and what we've done here is we've added sort of like ceramic coating. We've sort of priced it so that each salesman has the opportunity to go, almost tick a box. See, here's a list of sort of standard extras we fit, and that would be on there along with service spares, over carpets. We do all sorts of like sort of add-ons, if you like. Safety kit, things like that. Things that people, they may not think of, but they as soon as you explain it to them or give them the option, they go, oh yeah, I need that. Does that make sense? So it's an easy. They understand it once you tell them, but they perhaps don't think about it off their own back.
So I might be going down a bit of a rabbit hole of myth busting here, but like when a broker sells a boat, how valuable to the broker are the upsells, the financing, everything other than the actual, here's the boat, here's the
just as
here's
important,
the
really, because you have to give them everything, really. So the boat is only one element of it. So again, if they're financing the vessels, give them the correct advice on that. Where they're going to be boating, you give them the correct advice on that berthing, maintenance cost, giving them advice on that. So it's quite an involved process. Advising on different elements of it, because it's a massive undertaking for for someone, spending a lot of money,
Yeah.
and they have to have a trust with the person selling to them.
Yeah. So once that trust is there, they're talking to the broker. How can we help you more? All this service and after sales stuff really comes in.
And it works as a team, because normally if I'm around, I would go in with the client potentially, with the salesman, and then advise them on certain things. Everybody's different, everyone has different sort of points where they're sort of like really conscious of. Other people, perhaps not so much. So you sort of get a gauge for the client, and you work with them and try and give them the best service.
I feel like you offer a bit of an education service as well as part of the sale, isn't it? Because the client doesn't know the specifics of any particular boat, and I guess they need to be offered that these are the new technology. And like I say, with this we're talking about here is the new technology of boat protection, and people may not know that it's an option for them, so it's important they do.
Yeah. And so from actually a supply point of view, what's in place from Gtechniq to make sure the coatings applied correctly and it's not kind of half done?
So we offer a comprehensive training platform and routine really with the industry. So a broker could be trained to do that directly. They may have people that they use on staff to apply coatings. They may use a third-party company as their specialist to do cleaning, upkeep, things like that. So however that's arranged per broker is we engage with that, and we make sure we certify those people so that they know what they're doing. We look at all coatings, and we produce a quality coatings. We need to have a quality application, and that's the same with any sort of product like this. The service element, the way it's put on, is important. And we put a coating on. We've got the maintenance kits behind us here that's then left on the boat, so that there's that's on hand as well. And as well as just I know probably get into the product, but as well as just the ceramic coating side, we do the fabric protection, we do the glass protection. That could be external glass, internal shower screens, all of that side. So there's a whole sort of element there to look at, and that's where it's important that somebody's trained how to apply all of the product.
Yeah, because immediately I kind of jumped to covering the hull and the fancy paintwork on the outside. But actually, it can be throughout the whole vessel.
Absolutely, and what Ryan's identified is on some of the boats they offer. They've decided to offer Gtechniq across the range, but on some of the larger boats, they've actually developed a protection package to just identify certain areas of the boat where the high traffic they'd want to have the product.
Right, so like areas like this would be
areas like this, maybe
prime for food spill-ins, drink spill-ins, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or transom areas, where you might come on, and areas that might get things rubbing on them, and specific, like I say, high traffic, high wear areas where it might be good to do. So, there's lots of things on there, and we look at a lot of the boats now, and there's a popularity around lots of colours on boats, greys, blues, different things like that. So we help with UV protection. We help with anti-staining.
Right, just really maintaining that kind of like
that luster.
The really
that luster. Yeah. We've got a Sunseeker being done right now, actually, just down the coast, and it's a very, very dark paintwork on that. And again, the owner's gone for it for that reason. Really wants to keep that luster.
Yeah,
we really do. The way I describe it is what Gtechniq does is it stops the clock and locks in the finish.
Yeah, I'm already picturing like a really nice dark gloss at the start, and then 3 years down the line, you can see where the UV's got to it, and it's gone to like a grey, and it's not quite.
You tend to get some level of fading and oxidation, as Ryan was saying. It's great that the boat looks amazing on day one, and if an owner wants it to look amazing for longer, and down the track he wants the boat to look great and have an easier maintenance cycle, a lot of people, funnily enough, don't want to spend their time cleaning the boat. They want to spend their time enjoying the boat. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
Reality of buying a boat, you're cleaning it.
It is reality. The maintenance side of it is probably one of the biggest selling points, because it is simple as that. It just makes it so much. It just makes it so much easier. And they would have seen that from ceramic coat in the car. A quick wash down, and it's gleaming in the marina. When they leave it, they haven't got to spend hours and hours, and it could be them or the crew, but it just makes that process so much quicker and cleaner.
So how competitive is this space? I mean, there's other players also after the marine industry. What's really been like a driver at Gtechniq is, I suppose, a USP, but also like we've touched on how it can cover the entirety of the boat, including the interior and the exterior and all that kind of thing. What's really driving it?
Well, first of all, the Gtechniq marine products are specifically designed for the marine market. That's really important. You know, there's
So,
not,
so how would they differ from like an automotive?
the priorities for the coatings are different. So with a high-end car, that vehicle potentially is garaged, or it spends some of its time in the shade, or it's going and being exposed to different things to a boat. Which what does a boat need? It's looking for anti-staining because of obviously, and that kind of help with that. It's looking for UV protection, things that we can't get away from. You know, the boat.
It's a pretty brutal environment.
It's in a brutal environment. It's in Seoul. So we've focused on those things, and we focus on the ease of maintenance, and you know, the kind of keep clean element of it. So good water beading and sheeting, so things roll off it, and as Ryan said, being able to then hose down and see the boat come back without really having to put a lot of mechanical force into actually cleaning the boat. It becomes very, very easy to go around and cuts the time down on that. But really, as a business, it comes down to taking the market. I mean, this maybe I say taking it seriously. I don't know, but really understanding that marine is a separate category for Gtechniq. So Gtechniq doesn't see marine as, well, that's a nice to have on the side of our main business. That's not at all. You know, Gtechniq has a marine division now. This is being championed as a core part of the business. There's a lot of commitment gone into the brand in terms of working with the right people, gathering the right content, making this video today, you know, talking about it, wanting to be open about why people should look at these technologies, and with anything in any industry, but you know, definitely for marine, it's great for me to be on the cutting edge of things when new technologies come out, and I'm obviously passionate about that. But it's also very important to then explain to people that this is coming along. People have been using polymers and waxes for 30, 40, 50 years, probably, something like that. Now we have something which is, it's a different proposition, something that's long lasting, something that's going to give you that performance over time and really make a difference to the boat. And our job is to make sure people are aware of it and see that shift. And we're seeing it already. And as I said to you before, with automotive, that page is turned. People now really understand when they're buying certain vehicles, they're very much looking at, yes, I want that to be done. And that's something that is almost like I'm not saying it's an automatic tick, but it's got a very high adoption rate. And we need to just do the same now in marine. We need to explain to them, this is what it means to you on a day-to-day basis. You're going to sample your boat. It's going to look like this. I think a few people in the marine are going, how come your boat looks so great all the time?
Yeah.
That's the conversation we want to have. You know, around those marina bars, we want people to be saying, I don't see you cleaning that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so from a brand perspective, you, as Sunseeker London Group, you're dealing with Sunseeker, Actipar, Brabus. Like, these are very well respected premium brands. How does that fit so well with the Gtechniq brand?
Well, I think Gtechniq, what appeals to me, there's two things. There's two elements that probably appeal to me the most. One is the simple fact that we spoke about it earlier, we touched on it, is it's already a known brand. So putting the two together doesn't seem unusual.
Right,
and you're not really selling them. You know, when you're educating somebody or give them options, and you're not they already would have heard a Gtechniq bit part, so you haven't got to sell that part. Then you've got to concentrate on the ceramic part of it. And the fact that it does what it says. I mean, we would. I mean, it's a simple thing, but if it didn't suit our needs, we wouldn't use it. Yeah. It's as simple as that, really. I mean,
we come in tins with it does what it says.
Yeah, it's like a Ron seal. Yeah, just goes like that. But that is as simple as that. So my job is to make sure we're giving the best possible boat to a client, or the best finished boat. So they come and give them the wow factor when they take delivery, or we. So
it gives confidence.
Yeah.
You don't want to be saying like, "Hey, look, here's a great ceramic coating. It'll do this, that, and the other," and then have really quite an awkward conversation a couple of years down the line. Going 6 months down the line,
we
recommended that.
They've spent however much on getting it done, and then it's just stopped working. Ultimately, I'm responsible for that. Take whether it's Gtechniq or any brand, it will come to us first, and we have to be confident that I'm not going to get that comeback.
Yeah, because you own that relationship, so it's
they're not going to be worried about that. They're going to be worried about us, because ultimately we're the ones that sort of championed it, if you like.
And for us as well, it's just a really good fit. I don't feel we're trying to force something that's not a natural flow. These guys are used to, obviously they're going to prepare a boat. So when they sell a boat to a client, they do a hefty schedule of things before that PDI is been prepared to a very, very high standard. And actually that preparation is the preparation for doing a ceramic coating. You know, if you're going to want to make sure everything's clean, polished, looking great, you've already done all of that anyway to deliver the boat in the condition that, you know, London Group would always deliver a boat in, which is A1 condition. So because that's been done, the client, that is the time to make that decision. We've already done the labour. It's prepped effectively for ceramic. If you want to lock this finish in, this is the time to make that decision.
Yeah. So what kind of objections do clients sometimes have? So from a broker conversation, hey, have you considered ceramic coating? We've got this relationship with Gtechniq. What's like a classic something that kind of puts them off, or some kind of concern they might have?
Time, potentially.
If you're
on a tight time frame, you know, the product's great, but it can't be rushed. You can't sell it and make out. You can, if you do half a job, it's going to go backwards. So you can't take that sort of you know, you have to make that decision at the time. So that'd be one area. I'd say that's probably the main thing that would put people off. The size of the vessel, maybe the bigger Sunseekers, we would, you know, in the UK or wherever it's going, you know, because you need to have good conditions to apply it.
Right. Yeah.
So that can be a sort of like a
hit and miss in the off season and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that could stop people at the beginning, because you've got to find somewhere to do it, and it's going to take, you know, it's a number of days, you know, to apply it. So because preparation is key.
Okay. And generally the response is just kind of plan it in, or if you're doing other maintenance, do it at the same time, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's always a workaround. So we can, you know, it can be, well, look, use the boat for a season. It costs a bit more money because there's more preparation work to do at the end of the season. So there's more time. Because what we find is things are quick turnaround. We're seeing in the market now is that people want product and they want it now. They're not waiting so much. So that's why we sort of, that's part of our business planning or model, is that we have stock available for people to buy. We try to, you know, so because it's that sort of market, you know.
Yeah. And so from kind of a wider perspective, how well has this been welcomed by the marine industry? As a lot of players, is it fairly widely available? How successful
absolutely. The conversation we're having are really exciting. You know, we're growing all the time. And we've got with the marine industry, the reason I love it is the more people use the product, it's such a conversational industry. As I said before, people talk to people who talk to people, and before you know it,
how good was that? Did that serve you well? Or
before you know it, you start ringing people, and they start ringing you, which is starting to happen. Where you know, people start, I've seen this, I'm looking at that. Can you explain a bit
especially
more?
brokers. Brokers will definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a really interesting space to be in. I truly believe, if we look at the trend in different sectors that we've mentioned, automotive, it's just a short period of time, it will become start to become an expectation, or certainly a conversation that will be had as a natural conversation. Should we get this done now? Should we get it done later? People will understand the technology. There's a lot of innovation coming from us as well. We've got some pretty cool new products on the horizon. So very, very committed to marine. I'm obviously dedicated for marine myself, for the industry. So it's something that we see being a very, very exciting space, really infinitely into the future.
Yeah. And so
there's definitely more coming around. I see it more and more, sort of like companies that are offering the service. You can see it. So it's obviously something, you know, it's clicking in people's minds that this is a product we should be looking at.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you seen things evolve over the time you've been involved in this space? Have been just being like, well, what somebody requested 10 or 15 years ago is very, very different from what it is today. But how well does a ceramic coating like Gtechniq actually fit into what a client's likely to want today?
Right. Okay. Well, I think ceramic coating, I think Matt's hit the nail on the head. I think it is becoming much more popular. I think it's going to be more of a automatic tick. I think in years to come, I think it's developing that way, the trend. If 10 years ago, I wouldn't sit here and even discuss it.
It won't be a consideration because
there's no need for it. We won't. No one wants it. It's, you know, at the time I wasn't the biggest fan of it, so it's hard to back something if you don't necessarily agree with it.
You got to believe in it. Yeah.
But I think certainly in the last sort of 2 years, I'd say that you see the definite trend. It's because we don't, you know, a lot of the time we're getting asked by the clients before we even got that part. We want it ceramic coated.
Right.
You know, so you're getting that. They're already engaged with it.
Yeah.
From their point of view. They've done their research on the internet.
It is literally just a tick box. Yeah, we like that. We know it. Great. Happy days. Upsell done.
I think our job as well is to make sure people understand that, again, that Gtechniq Marine ceramic coating is dedicated for this space. There's people out there that have ceramic coatings that are biased towards different things to try to do different jobs. And it's important to understand that we've tailored the product for this space for marine. And that is anything from, you know, we've had people coat super yachts down to jet skis. So it's really exciting for us because there's such an opportunity to do pretty much any vessel on the water.
Yeah. And we've kind of touched on this in the direction it's going, but I always like to kind of wrap up on a vision looking forward. So
world domination, man.
World domination, yeah. Every country, every broker, yeah. So where does this head over the next few years? I mean, we talked a lot about the technology and the things in development, science getting better, the tech's getting better, more features, more desirable features and characteristics of the product. But what does this really become?
Well, I'll just say from a Gtechniq point of view, and I'll sort of flip over to Ryan, but from our point of view, we've got products in development now. A couple of products that are on the near horizon would be a dedicated suite of products for ribs. That's something that's obviously popular in certain areas, this part of the world, Italy, France, for example. So big for that. We've identified some needs there, which is really exciting. Also a product dedicated for decks. So for where you walk outside, again, keeping water off, making sure it's clean, making sure it's
long lasting.
We've had some great experiences with boat builders as well. We've got a super yacht tender manufacturer we work with that had a problem with cushions, for example, where I think everybody would say, but we always take the cushions in when it rains. But we know that essentially that's not always true.
Yeah.
Okay, but we always do. I don't understand that's happening. So the cushions were obviously getting wet somehow, and then that would cause mold to build up over time, because that's what naturally happens when it's in service with a client. So again, we've helped with that, and it's really good to be able to step in there, look at a problem for somebody and have a product or develop a product to meet the need. I mean, there's nothing better, I think, as any business to launch a range, have a relationship, have good communication, be talking to Ryan at London Group and listen. He goes, hey, Matt, actually, I might in the future have a problem with this. Well, have you got anything for that? Could we look at it together? And as a company, you know, we're committed to listening and taking that feedback on board and seeing what we can do for people.
And then, so Ryan, how do you see this kind of developing as a relationship with Gtechniq, but also kind of like?
I think what Matt says is pretty sort of on the mark. I think the Gtechniq have benefited from having a good product in the market at the right time, which is you know, because I think it is a natural progression. You're going to see you know, ceramic coating become more and more popular, and I think the fact that they've already got themselves a decent product now at the beginning means that I think it's given them a massive advantage in the market. And as you said, they're looking at all different areas. So they're going to diversify. They're not going to just say, right, okay, we'll rest on our laurels now. We've got that sorted. We've got that licked. You know, as he said, you know, Matt said he's going to sort of they're going to be looking at other products. And, you know, for us as well, something else will happen. Like we said, it'll be, we have a problem with this. How are we going to sort this out? And something like teak decks is an issue, keeping them clean, keeping them, you know, the look there as long as possible. So if there's something that can help us with that, then we would certainly be interested, because that's all that matters to us. It's not really, it's all about getting that look right for the client and giving them the best service we can give. And if Gtechniq can support us in that, then all good.
Then happy days. Okay, thank you very much for your insights, Ryan.
No worries.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Ben.
Everybody, this has been about Gtechniq, ceramic coating. They're working a lot with brokers, distributors. I'm sure you'll be able to mention other stakeholders, but essentially around the whole industry, very, very internationally. It presents a really nice opportunity for them. So do take a look at it, speak to the Gtechniq team if you want. And thank you, of course, to Sunseeker London Group for hosting us.
No problem.
Beautiful podcast studio. Doesn't get much better than this. So thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you learned plenty from that. All being well, we'll see you very soon. Bye for now.